Alive on the MOUNJARO, it's on the pen alive, with your host David Knapp.
Thank you, Clap Track, and happy Thursday night, everybody. Welcome to On the Pen Live. I'm your host, Dave Knapp, ManOnMounjaro. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Mounjaro, Zepbound, Compound, that pen. That's what we talk about here. We talk about all the news. We talk about what's fresh. We talk about fake news. And we have a special guest. This our, I believe, 79th episode of On the Pen Live. Can you believe we have done? I don't know that I've done anything 79 times in my life. Okay, there's probably a few things I've done 70. Shower, brush your teeth, yeah. But as far as things that I have been committed to on a weekly basis, this has been just the fastest 79 weeks of my life. And I'm so thankful to have spent it with you. We have got some great people in the house tonight. So I'd like to welcome special shout out to the members tonight. Anna, Rudy, Sue the dude, always moderating, always encouraging, always appreciate having him. We got Natalie and J Nev in the house. We've got Mimi. We got Fresh Electicism, my box of chocolate. That's quite the name. Anna, Shorty, Folly Beach. Who else we got in here? Am I missing any? Clokey's in the house. Welcome, Clokey. Special shout out to Clokester tonight, who is the conduit for our guests tonight. Lisa, Anna, man, there's too many of you. Kimberly. I'm not serious about that. There's not enough of you. Everybody should be a member, right? No, but thank you. Special shout out to the members. Thank you all for being the best part of what we do here On the Pen. I shouldn't do it without you. You guys have been such an encouragement to me over the last, Vanessa, I see you too. You guys have been such an encouragement to me. Spoonie, welcome. And I'm so thankful for all of you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a great support team. Tay, thank you for being here. Man, y'all keep popping up. We've got great guests tonight. I'm super excited about this, J May. I'm super excited. Are you excited, J May? I'm excited. We got the Downsized in the house tonight. Laraine and Christopher Durham from the Downsized. Y'all watch the Downsized. Give some love to the Downsized podcast and YouTube show. Give them some love in the chat because they're here tonight, and we're going to do the whole show with them tonight because they've got just as much to talk about about this stuff as I do. So we're super excited to have them. If you're not following the Downsized, it's at the Downsized. Really easy to figure out. If you look at the little thumbnail that popped up before the show, you see their little logo. Just look for that. They also have a website, I believe, thedownsized.com. They'll talk more about that when they come on here, but we're going to get the show rolling tonight. Super excited. Give them some love in the chat. But we're going to get this show rolling tonight with a little bit of housekeeping. You want mint for pillow? What kind of hotel is this? Housekeeping. There's a ton going on. There is just a ton going on. This is another one of those crazy weeks. And when I say it's been a crazy week, it's actually been a crazy year. You all know, like, just how much has happened and how much has changed in the past year. Honestly, the wall behind me is kind of a testament to that. My phone's in the shot. It's just a testament to that. There's a lot of things here. You got, my testosterone support from Ro, who is now a sponsor of On the Pen. You can see all of the Mounjaro shots, obviously, that I've taken. You can see the hot sauce. Y'all see the hot sauce. But this Fortune magazine cover is basically like a testament to just where we've come. Fortune friggin' magazine was talking about On the Pen. And so, like, that just gives you a little bit of an idea of where we have come in the last year. This last week, I had the pleasure of sitting down with a reporter from NPR, and we had the chance to talk a little bit about shortages and the importance of the community's voice in relation to these companies that provide these medications. Just a really great opportunity. We've got some really exciting things coming up, and I want to share something that's deeply personal to me. And this is an announcement that I have not made to you all. I should have saved the video and shown it here. Maybe I can do that next week or upload it here. It was a TikTok video. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty confident that we posted it as a short here on YouTube as well. Around the fall of last year, I set a goal for myself, and I set a goal for OnThePen. And that goal was that as I was covering the news that was dropping from Obesity Week, do y'all remember Obesity Week from last year, the fall of last year? Basically, Obesity Week, it's a huge, effectively like a trade show where all the big pharmaceutical companies come together around the topic of treating obesity. And essentially what happens is a lot of these pharmaceutical companies like Eli Lilly or Novo Nordisk will actually make presentations at Obesity Week on clinical data that drops about their medications. And so last year there was a lot of news that came out of Obesity Week, and I covered it all. Of course, that's what we do at OnThePen. We try to take all the information that's out there about these medications and bring it to you in a patient-centric way, a way that makes sense to us as patients. Because everything out there is pretty much either for doctors or it's for investors, but nothing that's put out there is really for us. And so that's what OnThePen has sought to do. We seek to suck in all that information that's out there, information for the doctors, information for the pharmaceutical companies, information for the investors, and we try to give that back to you in a patient-centric way so that you can have more competent and confident conversations with your medical team. That's the whole goal here, and that's what we're committed to and will always be committed to here at OnThePen. And so I set a goal in this short video, and I said next year my goal for OnThePen will be to be reporting live to you from Obesity Week. And I'm super excited to share with you that as of right now, the plan for OnThePen is to be at Obesity Week firsthand, reporting to you on everything that happens during Obesity Week this year. And we're going to get some really great information from both Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk. Maybe we can even convince some people from Eli and Novo to sit down with us and chat with us. That would be absolutely amazing. But you heard it here first tonight at OnThePen. Drop Obesity Week in the chat if you are excited about that. That is a big deal. And honestly, it is a dream come true because this was a huge goal that I had set for myself. And it was, honestly, it felt like a really big goal last year. I'm like, I don't know that, my job, will I have bandwidth to do it? Will this stuff even matter next year? There's just so much you didn't know. And so I'm super excited to share that with you. And I know that you'll all be excited to hear from me live from, I believe, Austin, Texas for Obesity Week. And I'm super, super, super thrilled to be able to bring that information to you firsthand from the scene where the news is breaking. Super, super, super excited. I can see you all are too. So thank you for sharing in that joy with me. We're going to do the rest of the show. And of course, we got the book coming out, GLP-1 on the GLP-1 pen will be coming out later this year. We're working on it. We're working on it. I'll keep you posted. Make sure you sign up for email alerts at onthepen.com so that you know when that thing drops. I'll also let you all know when this article for NPR drops because I'm super excited about that. Also, but we're going to do the show a little bit differently this week. We are going to bring our friends from the Downsized in to go through the news with us this week because they have as much to say on this stuff as I do. And so it's always fun to nerd out with fellow GLP-1 nerds. Not that they necessarily want that title, but I just gave it to them. So they're going to come on with me, but not before we introduce them with our one-of-a-kind bumper.
Hot channel.
Christopher and Laraine,
That's awesome, man.
Hello.
Welcome to On the Pen. How are you two tonight?
Oh, very good, man. How are you?
Good, Dave. Thanks.
So good. It's such a pleasure to have the two of you here tonight, and especially thank you because you do a live also on Thursday nights. So for everyone, I know that most of our friends here at On the Pen probably are already aware of the two of you and what you're doing over at the Downsized. But for those who do not, can you just give everyone a quick flyover of what you all do over there and sort of what got you started over at the Downsized?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead, Laraine?
What do we do over there? Well, we're Laraine and Christopher Durham. We started our GLP journey with compounded tirzepatide September of 2023. So now I think we're coming up on week 46. I've lost a total of 50 pounds. Christopher's lost 77,
78 actually. As of
78 pounds as of today. So back in March, we said, you know what, this stuff's really amazing and people don't know about this. And I want to tell everybody I know about this. And so we started a YouTube channel. So
and we, honestly, the first thing I did was, and I'm sure what a lot of you guys did, is go search YouTube, and Dave pops up automatically, pretty
Good.
top of the list. And I'm like, this is cool, But we kind of felt like as a couple, we were doing this journey together. I'm at least 10 years older than Dave. I'm not sure how much older I am than Dave, but we both are, and we just thought we had a different perspective. I spent a lot of years working for some daily newspapers as well, and I worked in some retail headquarters. So it's just a different perspective we're bringing to it, and we think there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Dave, we appreciate you for having us and for all the work you do, man.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's always fun to see other people pop up on the scene that are making good and helpful content, because again, I'm sure you can identify with the statement that I repeat over and over here. Like, we just want people to have more confident and competent conversations with their doctors. We want people to be armed with information. I feel like the more people have good information, the better off they'll be when it comes to their overall health and being able to advocate for themselves, whether it's talking to a doctor about a medication they're not aware of, or maybe one that's in clinical trials that may help them down the line, or just navigating insurance issues, prior authorizations, savings cards, etc.
There's so many things, and we were just talking about this a little while ago on our live stream, or maybe
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I'm not sure what I'm talking about either.
It all probably runs together.
Yeah, as a woman, I've been, overweight my whole adult life, and certainly as a teenager. So it's been very hard for me to advocate for myself with my doctor, because, I've just always thought, oh, well, doctors are smart and they know what they're doing. And, I'm supposed to tell them what I want. And so I think, you need to come into your doctor armed with this information, because not all doctors are
educated,
open to it. Yeah. So it's just really important that you be able to speak for yourself.
So we actually filmed a video earlier today, and Dave, you may have seen it. There's a new set of research out basically saying that obese people don't get as good a health care just because they're obese, right? Mm-hmm. The doctors just kind of think you're lazy and you're not taking care of yourself. So a whole conversation there.
My doctor told me, well, you just need to diet and exercise. I'm like, oh, thanks. I hadn't thought of that. Wow. I've only been on Weight Watchers since I was 15 years old. Like, yeah, let me try that.
Absolutely. I wish that was an isolated story, but it seems to be the norm. So it's definitely not an uncommon story that people are brushed off because of their obesity. And it's sad, but it's getting better too. And that's sort of what makes what we're doing so exciting, right? Mm-hmm. Is that
it does.
I feel like with every little, so you said something right off the bat that jumped out to me when you said you couldn't help but want to tell other people. And one of the things that I sort of in a cheeky way consider ourselves is we're GLP-1 evangelists. We're out there spreading the gospel, preaching the good news about not only the fact that obesity is a disease, but that there are now treatments that level the metabolic playing field and give people a fighting chance to get it into remission. And so I feel like we're making a lot of, with every video we put out, and then conversely for everybody who's watching who doesn't make content, every time you share a video like this, every time you like it, every time you interact with it or comment on it, you're doing your own little form of advocacy, because that pushes this stuff out to more people. Because ultimately what Christopher and Laraine want, and what we want here at On the Pen, is we want this information to get outside of the bubble of the people that use these medications, because there are so many more. There's 190 million people in the United States that would benefit potentially from the use of a anti-obesity medication like Zepbound or like Wegovy. And the only way we're ever going to reach them is if you, the people who watch this content, are inspired by it, helped by it, whatever, have the wherewithal to advocate with us and share this kind of information somewhere else. That's why we're always like Reddit forums, Facebook, and
everywhere.
Not just where these conversations are happening, but even where they're not. And that's what the book that I'm writing is about too. Just like, let's get something in the hands of people that they can relate to, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of women are afraid to even tell their friends that they're on a GLP-1 weight loss medication, because the most common thing I hear is, oh, well, you're cheating, or so a lot of people kind of shy away from telling people. But yeah, that's a great point. If you like and share this video, you're helping us get the word out. And that's something you can do just from the privacy of your own computer screen or your own phone. So that's a great point.
You're changing the conversation too. I mean, for so long, healthcare has been about managing to disease and not managing in front of disease. And if we approach obesity and diabetes and all of these things from the front and not the back, we can fund it properly. We can vote for the right people. We can make sure that the right research is funded. I mean, there's just so much that changes when your perspective changes on this.
Absolutely. Great point. To that point, when we talk about coming at diseases from the front end, or what people will maybe commonly refer to as preventative medicine.
Yep.
The study that came out, was it last week or the week before? 94% reduction in the development of type 2 diabetes in the longest study ever of tirzepatide, a 3-year study taking obese or overweight patients who were pre-diabetic, a 94% reduction in type 2 diabetes.
Wow.
I'm sure you all covered that news, but
we did, yeah. And those are startling numbers. And the challenge is, how do we translate that for, honestly, Wall Street, such that they understand that there's a long-term gain, because so much of Wall Street's decisions are today, right? So that turns into savings and profits 1 year, 5 years, 10 years down the road, if they can have the wherewithal to understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the most interesting part of the conversation that I had with the gal from NPR the other day, she's like, is there anything, like that you just want to add, like that you would say to people? And I thought about it, and I have a friend that I've made here within our community who's a moderator and just a very close friend at this point, but Sue the dude and I were having this conversation. And one of the things that we kind of came up with, and just kind of the dance of a conversation about this stuff, it just kind of came to me in that moment. And I said, all the talk about GLP-1 medications crippling the healthcare system, appropriately priced, competitively priced GLP-1 medications could save our healthcare system.
Absolutely. No question about it.
And so that's the way people need, that's the mindset shift that the general public needs to understand the way that we do when we see 94% reduction in development of type 2 diabetes, a 38% reduction in major cardiovascular events in people with heart failure, a 51% reversal in sleep apnea. No other drug in the history of humans has reversed sleep apnea, but Zepbound does. Sleep apnea. Has that been your story, Chris?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's for me. I'm 55 years old, or 56. I just turned yesterday.
Happy birthday!
56.
Yeah, yesterday.
Happy birthday.
You know, and at losing 78 pounds, I had extremely high blood pressure. I had high cholesterol. I had sleep apnea. I mean, I had all of the comorbidities.
He was snoring to wake the dead.
Yeah.
Like he would wake. We've been married for 20 plus years. He would wake me up from a dead sleep just with the snoring, and it was just really terrible. But since losing these 78 pounds, he doesn't snore anymore. He doesn't. Sometimes I'd wake up and he was breathing funny. He wasn't ever diagnosed with sleep apnea, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And he's also been able to, with his physician's guidance, cut his blood pressure medication in half.
And I'll be off of it in the next couple of months.
We hope to get the high cholesterol numbers down at his next blood work.
I mean, for me, the turning point came, honestly, I woke up one day and realized my mother had died only a couple of years older than I am right now from heart problems that were obviously weight related.
His parents were both
and you just kind of look at it and go, I don't care what it costs.
Yeah.
I want to meet grandkids one day. I want to,
Yeah. And we pay out of pocket. Our insurance doesn't cover weight loss medication. So through a combination of the Eli Lilly coupon, I get mine compounded from an online health provider. What wouldn't you pay, to prolong your life, to see your children grow up, to for all these things. So,
and people ask, I have a Zepbound prescription and I'm on 50 milligrams right now, and I get it through a telehealth provider as well, because I'm not going without. I've got a stockpile in the refrigerator. Period. I'm not going back.
So I'm constantly calling pharmacies and standing in line and talking to the pharmacy techs and patiently waiting while they try to figure out how to key the coupon into their computer, because it seems to have a different problem every month. But we just do what we got to do.
Absolutely. Not to juke too hard, but to kind of dovetail, Laraine, because you had quite the experience filling your Zepbound. Was it yesterday?
Yeah. So I went into Walgreens. I'm on their app, so I got a message that the prescription was ready. So, I always kind of steel myself, because there's a lot of days I go in to get it and I don't walk out with it due to they need a code from the doctor that's not in there. So today's particular adventure, there wasn't a line at the pharmacy. I said, "Oh, this is great. There's no line." I walked right up. I said, "I'm here to pick up," and I gave them the name and all that, and they pull it up, and she said, "Well, do you know that this is $1,249? Yes, I know. We've filled this here before, and I have a coupon from the manufacturer. I think it's on file in your system. Let me know if it's not. I have a copy on my phone. I can show you." And so she's doing it. She goes, "Well, I don't see a coupon in here." I said, "Oh, I've got it saved in my app, on my phone wallet." So I pull it up and I show her, and she's keying it in, and it doesn't work. And I'm like, what is
now,
happening?
Remember, this was the same day all the hullabaloo about the savings card came out.
Yeah.
And there was probably an hour or two where it was a little uncertain what was happening. And It took us all a little while to figure it out. I think it's fine, and we can certainly rehash that if we need to. But we weren't quite sure what we were going to get charged at that point.
So she says, I'm standing there maybe 20 minutes, and there's a pharmacist that I recognize working back there. I said, "Oh, that pharmacist has helped me before. I think he knows how to key in the coupon." She goes, "I know how to key in the coupon. This isn't working." I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to stand here quietly while you continue to tap on your computer. And then finally she says, you're just going to have to come back. You're going to have to just let me work on this. I said, oh, do you mean like walk around the store and check back in a few minutes? Or am I going to have to go home and come back later? She's like, yeah, it might be a while. I said, oh, okay. Well, could you call me when you when you get it figured out? So, and she did. I don't know what the problem was. She called me a couple hours later, and did she tell me it was $550? Because at that point I was like, oh, maybe I'm going to have to pay $650. Maybe I'm going to pay $550 with the coupon. It was $550. So I went and picked it up, and I was just like, it's just, and I just come back so frustrated because we go through so much to find this medicine, to track it down, to go there, to give them the coupon, to go through this literally every month. It's so frustrating, and it shouldn't be. I mean, I don't know why it has to be so complicated.
One of the things that I've been saying since I started Mounjaro is these GLP-1 prescriptions should just automatically come with an anti-anxiety prescription. It does not matter whether it's going to be an insurance, like a prior authorization or a insurance card change or shortages, whatever it is. It's also ridden with anxiety, and it reminds me of a conversation I was having with somebody earlier this week. It was somebody from somewhere had called me and wanted to get my input on what I thought about people going to this gray market, research chemical stuff for
don't do it.
Peptides. Absolutely don't do it. But but what I told him is I said, a year and a half ago when I first started Mounjaro, people were appalled by the thought of doing that or going that route. And I said, sadly, more and more people are going that route because they're desperate. Because
absolutely.
Once you've had a taste of a medication, I just speak from the diabetic standpoint. I have a medication. This medication is likely by the numbers to make my life longer.
Absolutely.
I will be around for my kids longer because of this medication. And when shortages take it away, PBMs take it away, manufacturer savings cards changes make it inaccessible, people panic. And so you can understand sort of this guy was just sort of coming from the angle where he just like, I just don't understand why anybody would do that. And I said, well, you obviously are unfamiliar with what it's like to live with a chronic disease and then face the real fear about having something taken away. Because once you experience that fear and that anxiety, you start to understand why people become so stinking desperate. And so it's desperation, right? It's desperation. And so I want to just sort of build off of what you have shared about your own experience, Laraine, at the pharmacy, because every week we like to take out the trash with like a fake news. It used to be Fake News Friday, and then I changed this live to Thursday, and it never has got quite the same ring, but we're going to take out the trash together tonight. So Laraine was obviously not the first person to go to the pharmacy after this big savings card change and have a experience that was not what she was expecting. I mean, I think you probably half expect an issue every time you go to the pharmacy if you're on a GLP-1, especially if you're using the savings card where you don't have coverage. But when the savings card change first happened, and you kind of hit on this, Christopher, there was uncertainty there, right? Before we really got a lot of clarity. And I know like the first thing I did was like we gotta reach out to the Eli Lilly people that are in charge of the savings card stuff. We got to figure this out, because unfortunately what Lilly chose to do, sorry, we got a storm outside. Hopefully I don't lose power. What they chose to do was to put out a big press release about the great news about the Zepbound vial cash pay price, but they neglected to really give any fanfare about this middle of the night savings card change that really sent a lot. Again, we talk about that anxiety, sent a lot of people into a tizzy, and rightfully so. And so I just want to, because there's been a lot of bad news and bad videos that have gone around about this savings card. I just want to bring some clarity to anybody watching tonight. And you can go to onthepen.com. There is an article up there now that lays out the implications for you if you are taking advantage of the Zepbound savings card. You have commercial insurance that does not cover Zepbound, because that was what the change impacts. So essentially, to lay it out as quick as I can here for those watching, and I know Christopher, Laraine, this is going to be like, we get it, Dave. But,
that's all, man. Keep saying it. Keep preaching.
So for everyone out there, essentially what happened is Eli Lilly for new patients to Zepbound. In other words, you were not, prior to August 26th, enrolled in the Zepbound savings program. For new patients, the price that you will pay at the pharmacy is going to be around $650 for the majority of those patients. So where they were covering about $560 of the cost of the medication through the savings card, they're now going to cover $460. So there's $100 difference that the patient is going to be responsible for. If you were enrolled in the savings card program prior to August 26th and were filling at $550, nothing changes for you. Nothing changes. That card is still good for you through the end of the year. Now, a couple of tips and tricks that I want to make sure that you're all aware of. If you switch pharmacies, make sure your old savings card goes with you. A lot of times pharmacies will automatically apply a manufacturer savings card if they don't see one. Some pharmacies, and I'm surmising here based upon the number of people that have to deal with this, some pharmacies may even have automated systems that update your savings card when a manufacturer updates their savings card. You want to make sure that you have that pharmacy run back your old savings card, because you are grandfathered in. You should not pay more than $550 or around that amount of money if you were filling for that same amount prior to, as long as you haven't exhausted the max benefit or the max fills, which is $13 and like $7,500. The other thing is this new savings card for the newbies to Zepbound only has 5 fills on it, and it only has about $2,500 as the max benefit. That doesn't mean that's all it is moving forward. That's just the card that is good through. It's good through December. And as Laraine pointed out in the Downsized video, August, September, October, November, December. So after the first of the year, there will likely be a new card. This is where I get into speculation. It will probably look a lot like the one that just dropped, where the copay will be $650 for patients, which isn't good news. You know, it's not good news. And there's a lot of people, unfortunately, who are already borderline. I mean, frankly, I think what this is going to do is going to push a lot of people to compounded versions of the medication. I just think that's naturally what's going to happen.
I don't know why obviously they can do whatever they want. I think in 2023, when we first started, it was $500. And then it went to $550, and now it's going to $650. Like, why? Like,
I mean, you know, Dave, I worked for a Fortune 10 company for a long time, and I can tell you, it always amazed me sitting in meetings very often, either through poor organization or just neglect. They did stupid things. This kind of felt like that to me. Mm-hmm. It was like the people running the cash price were a different team than the people running the card team, and nobody talked to each other.
It doesn't.
And then the communication, I mean, I read every word of the fine print on that, and it was fuzzy as mud. It just, communicate better, Eli Lilly, please.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, right there. Communicate at all. I think so. One of the things that I feel like we have going for us in this community here at OnThePen specifically is many of us started on MOUNJARO. And so we're not all that surprised that the savings cards are changing, because it's it is actually the natural evolution of the savings card of a new drug. Yeah. Initially, you pay less, and then as they get more formularies to accept, because what's going to happen over the next 5 months is more and more people will actually go from the savings card that covers it for $550, $650 in the future. They're going to end up on that $25 savings card because more insurance companies will add the drug to their formulary. That is typically how it works, and certainly what Eli Lilly is working towards.
That's what Rick said basically in one of the interviews. So it's not a surprise. I mean, our challenge right now is we're self-employed, so we own our own business. So we're buying insurance from the marketplace. In the state of North Carolina, there is no insurance in the marketplace that
covers obesity,
any of these obesity medications covered. Period.
You can get bariatric surgery and they'll cover that, but not obesity medication, not GLP-1 drugs. So it's very frustrating. I can't imagine. Can you imagine if we could get this drug for $25? I mean,
well, probably if I still worked for the very large company, I would.
Well, I mean, and I've had friends who have questioned their employment because of the health benefits and whether these drugs were covered with that employer or not. So, I mean, people are making life-altering decisions based on how am I going to afford these medications, and it's just very frustrating.
It impacts people's lives.
Yeah.
That is one of the things that as a content creator in this space, it is like you sort of start to carry the burden for the community a little bit, because it's like I've never really struggled with the cost of MOUNJARO because I'm diabetic. Like I always say, I'm lucky enough to be diabetic, right? I mean, so I maintain access and I maintain cheap access, but I've never had obesity coverage. So if I didn't have diabetes, I would be in that same boat too. And you start to carry the burden a little bit for the community when you hear stories over and over. Like I had to drive 350 miles to find my medication. I had to call 100 pharmacies in my state to find my medication. And it was at that point, that I started to like I emailed somebody from the community. Like, hey, I have the emails for the executives at Eli Lilly. Will you email them? Or if you want to email them. And I just sent them emails. It's like, and I just screenshotted comments in my videos. Like, and that's what I said. Like, these are real people. Every single one of these is not a comment on a video. These are people driving. Like somebody's like, I drove 300 miles in a snowstorm to get my medication. Yeah. Like this, like we have to do better. And that was like right when we started to sort of advocate for release the vials. Like it was shortly thereafter that I was like, we've got to do something. They have MOUNJARO vials approved. Why aren't they releasing this in vials? They can certainly make more. And so you do start to sort of carry the burden for the community when you're you can only hear these stories so many times, even if you're not living it yourself. And so, so to kind of like bring it back to your own journey in the Downsized, tell me how you have kind of interpreted the news this week about the vials and about like how are you interpreting the release of the vials and then this cash pay price? What are your thoughts?
I mean, here's the thing, Dave. We applaud your whole initiative around release the vials. We have used the hashtag and shared it as well. We are advocates for better access, period. Those vials honestly do not benefit us, but everything doesn't have to benefit me. That's okay. You know, it's like I don't have kids in elementary school either, but I'm happy to pay the taxes for kids to go to elementary school. It's not a big deal. Right?
Well, I mean, these vials, they're great. I want vials in all doses released. Okay, great. Well, is it so new people can start on the vials and get the 2.5 from Lilly Direct, and now they're bypassing all this mess and just getting it, and they can pay a cash price of what is it, $349, $399, something like that. Like, who are they trying to bring more people into the fold, so to speak? So they want to start more people on this medication that is currently, we know it's still in shortages everywhere. I still have to call around and find it. Pharmacies still have to order it. They don't keep it in stock. They some of them can't even get it from their distributors. So what's happening here? They want more people to start, but us that have been on it now for 45 weeks, they just say, good luck.
So it's
here's $100 price increase.
I think I said in one of the videos, Eli Lilly gives and Eli Lilly takes away. It's this kind of thank you that the vials are the right thing to do. We appreciate that. Could be a better price, don't get me wrong. And then savings card, that kind of sucks. I don't know. I just, they've got to communicate better. I would prefer to buy these branded product than buy the compounded product. And if they could get it to me at a great price in stock every time, there would be no question whatsoever. But I don't think they should confuse that with loyalty. I'm honestly not loyal to Zepbound or to Eli Lilly. I am, however, an extreme believer in obesity medication. So when retatrutide comes along, when any of those new ones come, and if that's something I still need, then hey, we're going to try it. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I love you or Zepbound.
I just don't see why it has to be so expensive in the U.S. when in Canada, in Germany, in the UK, in all these other countries, it's a fraction of the price.
It's a function of our system,
and it's why. I mean.
Well, I think the challenge is everybody's pointing fingers, right? And the PBMs are making probably, I don't even know if PBMs need to exist.
Amen.
And the drugstores are making money and the distributors are making. I think if Bernie pushes for anything, if he can do anything, get transparency up and down the supply chain. Let's see what everybody's making. Yep. Make sure everybody's making a profit and they're not taking advantage. And anybody that's not actually contributing PBMs, they're the Lloyd Dobler, if you know the Say Anything reference. They don't make anything, do anything. They're just kind of.
He might be too young for that movie.
Yeah.
I didn't catch. What did you say? What reference?
The movie Say Anything. It's a
Lloyd
John
Dobler.
Hughes 80s movie.
It's
we're Gen Xers, so it's
an
a
old
Gen
reference.
Xer.
But they don't make anything. They just bring cost to the menu, and then I don't know. Transparency up and down the board. Make sure everybody's profitable, and it's America. We all want everybody to survive, but they shouldn't be taking advantage.
It just seems like we're being really taken advantage of at this point. And it just, it's just making people not like Eli Lilly. And if something else better comes along, they're gonna.
The challenge I would give to everybody out there is there's 190 million obese people in the United States.
And we're mad as hell.
That is a large enough voting block that you can change the world, and it has nothing to do with red or blue. It has to do with your health and your wellness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just pushes people toward compounded. I mean, who can afford $550 a month? Who can afford $650 a month? And if I'm on it, and my husband's on it, and maybe other family members want to go on it because it works where nothing else in my lifetime really has worked. I'm going to go to the compounded route. And so I've been on the compounded for 46 weeks. It works great. It's a heck of a lot cheaper. Mm-hmm. If Eli Lilly met the compounded price, I'd get it. I'd get it from CVS if I could find it. It's just, and then when everything came out about, Eli Lilly's coming after the online telehealth providers and wants to shut them down, everyone in the compounding, on the compounding doses, like panicked, and they're reaching out to us like, what should I do? Are they going to shut it down? Like what's going to happen? I'm panicking. Don't take away this life-changing medicine. And we're trying to tell people, don't panic. I panicked a little bit. I placed a reorder. I placed some reorders pretty quick. But it does like kind of panic you a little bit to think, because I know if I stop this medicine completely, the weight's going to come back. We know that we have to be on this long term. I get so worked up about it, and it's just really out of our control.
Yeah. I think, Laraine, your angst about it is indicative of how probably most people who will watch this video or who are in the community are feeling. And I think it's warranted. Like we said earlier, my fear is not that my fear is not that the increase of the cost of Zepbound with the savings card change will push more people to compound. My fear is that it'll push more people to the gray market,
which is possible. Which again, we do not encourage that. I will tell people actively to not do that. You don't know what you're buying.
We've been warning about that since 2022, late 2022, early 2023. Same thing. It's not, but that's my fear. Is like people are desperate. Like Lorraine's like position over there that she's feeling towards all this. Yeah. Is I think indicative of how most people are feeling about this. And so, yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. I think, it's hard to know exactly how to feel about it because, like I think a lot of people from a creator, they look at me and they go, well, we want you to say everything that we're feeling about Eli. Yeah. If I don't crap all over Eli Lilly, then I'm not doing my job. But the reality is, like I said earlier, Eli Lilly developed this drug. Their money, their scientists, their intellectual property, they developed this drug, and I will likely live longer because they did it. So if you're looking for me,
God bless them,
I won't.
You know what? We have no animosity towards Eli Lilly either. I mean, or Novo Nordisk. I mean,
we're so glad for these drugs, but at the same time, like, why you got to take advantage of us? Why?
Well, I think to Christopher's point, I think that anger should be placed at the foot of the system. If somebody has failed us, it's Washington, D.C., right? Washington, for example, Christopher and Laraine, Washington, D.C. had the chance to basically decriminalize obesity medicines from being covered on Medicare. Do you think they did it? No. We spent a year and a half on this channel, many other channels, I'm sure you all talked about it, advocating for the passing of the Treat and Reduce Obesity Act. Guess what they did? They completely neutered it in committee. Now, so what could have ultimately allowed for some obesity medications to be added ultimately to the formulary, maybe arbitrated with the cost. Now, basically, if it gets passed in its current form, people who were on obesity medicine for a year prior to going on Medicare can continue their coverage, may have the chance to continue their coverage. But for people who are on Medicare and people who are maybe within that year window but not on a GLP-1 yet, they're screwed. And the problem with that is it bleeds into this whole thing about the vials. That's why I'm so thankful that Eli Lilly at least threw a bone to those people, because guess who didn't throw a bone to them? Washington, D.C. did not throw a bone to people with obesity on Medicare. And people with Medicare and people without insurance. Sorry, I'm getting fired up now. People without insurance and people without Medicare had nothing. If there was a marginalized group within the community of obesity patients that had nothing, it was Medicare and uncovered people. And at least Eli Lilly threw them something. Now, to sort of get back to the topic about the vials, an interesting article came out. And when I had the chance to talk to the guy from Eli Lilly a couple weeks ago before the earnings call, my first question to him is, why the 2.5 and 5 milligram of Zepbound? Why not MOUNJARO? And he said, and take this for what it's worth, because, for all we know, it's just like he's trying to give me talking points that I'll regurgitate, and here I am regurgitating them. But basically what he said to me is, when we look at the vials, it's something we've wanted to bring to market for a long time, but we rely on third parties to do that. And I remember hearing him say that and thinking, that's a line. Because Eli Lilly doesn't do a lot of third-party anything. They're investing massive API manufacturers. Y'all live in North Carolina.
Yeah, so I mean, the Concord factory's 10 miles from my house.
Yeah, so you're well acquainted with how much they're spending on infrastructure to make this stuff here. Mm-hmm. An article actually came out today, and I don't have it in front of me, but about the third party that were used in Columbus, Ohio. I'll go back and link it in the video.
Yeah, we saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they are using third parties. And my thought is, as they expand capacity, I'm hopeful that they will also expand the dosage that they allow. Like, can either of you, like, as you guys sit here, can you fathom that they would just leave people hanging on the 2.5?
No,
I can't imagine they
I
will.
do.
You think they will?
Honestly, I think they'll
They're gonna
release the
have
vials,
to.
and I think it's right now they're using price.
Sorry, to be clear, you said you think they will release more dosage?
I do.
Why would you start somebody on a 2.5 and then give them a 5 and then give them nothing? Like what?
Right.
What are they going to go to next? Like, and explain to me about third parties. You mean like third parties are manufacturing the glass vial, or what are third parties manufacturing?
So instead of the vials being put down a line and the stuff shot into them and packaged up in an Eli Lilly facility, they are leveraging somebody else's factory to do all that.
Right.
So
they just don't have the production line, the production capacity to meet.
Because what you just asked, because what you just asked, the way you just asked that was my first question when he said it.
Okay.
And I didn't ask for clarification because, like, you're talking to the CEO of a $1 trillion company. You can't even believe what you're doing. But my first reaction was, does he mean like third parties to give him the vials or or what?
That's a pretty standard. Pretty much all peanut butter is made that way by 3 manufacturers, no matter the brand. Coffee is made that way. I mean, so that's a pretty standard.
How would you know?
Yeah. But they can't do that with the pens because there aren't just lines of pens sitting out there waiting. It just doesn't exist.
There's probably more lines.
But yeah, I think there will be more vials. I mean, when we look at Europe, Australia, they have other gauges of. They have other amounts of vials.
Yeah, Australia has only vials, right?
No, they have pens.
They both?
They have pens too.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. So in those countries where they've released the MOUNJARO vials, you're seeing a move everybody to the QuickPen.
Yep.
Right. The QuickPen is basically Eli.
That's one.
Oh, you have one.
I have one. One of our viewers sent us one from England.
Oh, very nice. I was gonna say, well, here's the Ozempic pen. It works a lot.
It looks there. I mean, this is
you
a
hold it
standard
closer
pen.
to the camera,
like stuff that comes in it.
Are you far enough away? Can you go a little closer?
Yeah. Let me turn it the right way. Yeah.
Cameras.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. Yeah. So what you're seeing in the other countries is they're starting to pull the vials back and release those quick pens. Now, okay, here's a thought. I'm just thinking about this. Maybe the play is, because they haven't got the quick pens approved here, maybe the play is once they pull those vials from the foreign markets and replace them with the quick pens, maybe they will have more capacity to make the upper doses of the Zepbound vials here because they're not using that manufacturing capacity to do it there.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, maybe they don't want to release the vials in the higher doses because people will split them easier.
But I feel like they resolved that with the price tiers, though, don't you?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, how much would a 15 milligram vial be if the 7.5 is
I would imagine probably dancing around that $1,100. How much?
Yeah, I know. I would agree with that.
I mean, so who's going to pay that when you could go to CVS and use the coupon and get it for $5.50? Like, it doesn't.
But you don't know where it ends up.
Well, the whole point is they can't. The people that are cash pay
can't use the coupon.
They can't use the coupon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Who knows? I mean, obviously it's all speculation, but
I mean, when you look at that speculation, I think if I'm sitting in an Eli Lilly boardroom and I see 190 million people that can benefit from my product, I want to know how to sell it to every one of them.
Or you want to know how to make enough to sell it.
Yeah. So it's got to start with, I have to supply them.
Yeah.
Right now, I think they're keeping the cost high because they can't supply them.
Yeah, that could
be. So as more capability comes online, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, more competitors come online, price is going to come down.
Well, it'll be supply and demand at some point, but now it's
then they'll say
all demand.
$150 a month, and they'll say we want to own 40% of the fat people in the world.
Yeah, right. And then what happens when the fat people aren't fat anymore?
Yeah, there you go. Well,
you have to keep taking it forever. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, then they've launched their pill, and they say the pill's for maintenance, and they move on. They've still got us all.
Yeah. I think that is. I mean, all of that to sort of bring back to the point that I was making with that gal from NPR. Like, when we get Viking Tide from Viking Therapeutics,
Yeah.
when we get Maritide from Amgen, when we get it seems like forever away, but 5 years from now, with the competition that's out there, we could see appropriately priced GLP-1s and imagine what that could do for the healthcare.
And see,
Yeah.
my fear is that the FTC will not pay enough attention to this and will allow those guys to get bought up by Novo or Eli Lilly.
I think those conversations are probably. I think that Eli Lilly already tried, and I think it fell through.
Yeah.
I don't quote me on that, but I feel like I maybe close.
I mean, that's how you shut the competition down. You buy it up in the early stages and never let it develop.
They have billions. They're making Eli Lilly. What did they just report at their last earnings call? How many billions they made like in the last quarter? Like it's
they're rapidly approaching $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, as they should be. I mean, they have made if they shouldn't be allowed to, neither should Apple or Tesla or anybody else who comes out with something that the whole world wants. It just, again, it feels crass when it's related to people's health, right? But then the flip side of that thing is like if you over-regulate it and make it, because I think like the point that you made, Laraine, earlier, like why do we have to pay so much money for these in the United States? It's the system. It's the system, and until our government can actually
it could change, though. I mean, the system as we know it really sprang out of deregulation in the 80s in the Reagan era. Prior to that, insurance, medical insurance couldn't even cross state lines. There was none of the, and PBMs didn't exist prior to early Obamacare rules where insurance companies could only make 18% profit. So, I mean, they could change the regulation and fix this. The question is, do they have the will, or are they, all in the pockets of big business?
Why, and why should they? Like what impetus do they have?
Because if 190 million people voted them out.
Well, I mean, maybe we should start some kind of political movement, or I don't know, but
Well, it'll be interesting because in September you do see I can't remember what Bernie Sanders committee that he heads up, but he has
the help committee. Yeah.
And they're looking at this, so they'll have the CEO of Novo Nordisk up there. Yeah. And honestly, like we're talking a lot about Eli Lilly and their shortcomings and our frustrations with them, but there's Eli Lilly's drug is cheaper than Novo Nordisk, and it's better.
Yeah.
So like, what's the deal there? And so it'll be interesting to see what comes of that. I mean, I'm pretty skeptical as to whether he's going to accomplish anything with it, but
I mean, it's a committee and it's a bipartisan committee, and they have done a little bit. I mean, they did impact the price of insulin some. Do I think anything huge is going to come out of it? No, probably not.
Yeah.
But
it has been interesting conversation to listen. I don't know if you listened to any of those hearings though, but to hear people from both sides of the aisle going, the closer we look at this, the more it seems like we don't know what the PBMs exist for.
Yeah. I mean, that's why my call is transparency top to bottom. Show me what you're making, everybody, because you're all pointing at each other. I don't know.
I just want a lower price. I mean,
I
don't care how it happens.
Price. I'm happy if you make money. Lily, you should. You earned it.
I don't care. I don't care who's making what. I want that price when I go to CVS to be
not $600
under $100. I don't know, something reasonable that a normal person could afford.
Well, at the risk of getting political, we've got big food with way too much influence over things in this country. We've got big pharma with way too much influence, political influence in this country. And you think about it, and it's like the government has helped to perpetuate the food environment in this country, which contributes to metabolic disease. And then big pharma comes around with the solution, but it's going to be the cost of a mortgage, or at least for most people on it, it's going to be the cost of an expensive car payment. Yeah. And it's like, really, like we can do better. I think that's and like, I'm not trying to be political about this in any way, shape, or form, but we're the United States of America. We can do better. And it's high time that we look at things differently and start to look at it in terms of the fact that the rest of the world is more civilized than it was, more wealthy than it was 50 years ago. We don't need to be footing the bill for all of the innovation that happens in medicine in the world.
Absolutely.
And that's essentially what's happening, right? Because, Novo Nordisk, even though they're a Danish company, they're not selling Ozempic overseas for $900 a dose or $900 a month.
No.
But they are here, and we're footing the bill for the development of these drugs. And that, to me, has to change. And I don't know that there's many people who would disagree with that statement. It's how we get there, right? How do we get there without stifling the exact same innovation that brought us this and brought us?
I mean, but the challenge, and I absolutely agree with you. The layer I would add to it is 70 or 80% of the time these things are being developed in our universities and paid for with federal funds already.
A lot of times they are.
So
I don't know.
It's like we're going to pay to develop them, and then you're going to make a profit. Somewhere this equation isn't working.
It doesn't work for U.S. citizens, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's a broken system.
I mean, how do I, it's like tickets to a Taylor Swift concert where it's cheaper to fly to the UK, buy a ticket to see Taylor Swift there rather than buy a ticket stateside, because it's so much cheaper.
And it might be cheaper to fly somewhere to buy.
Can I fly
Zepbound,
Can I fly somewhere and see a physician in another country and buy it there?
Or maybe Taylor Swift can just buy all of our medicine for us.
Yes.
I would love to see one of these innovators like Elon Musk or Mark Cuban or somebody with the money and the chops to develop a peptide, an oral peptide that, I guess oral peptides are hard to make super effective, but like Rybelsus is pretty effective in higher doses. If they could develop a cheap peptide oral, that would be something that would be accessible and they could sell for, $25 a month.
I mean, that's how Salk was with the early, the original polio vaccine. He gave it away.
Wow.
He was like, I want to save the world.
Wow.
And I guess that's what he did. Yeah.
Well, Elon did take Ozempic. Elon did take Ozempic, and Mark Cuban hates PBMs. So,
yeah. Well,
Mark Cuban started his own pharmacy thing, right?
Yeah. So we need guys like that and women with minds towards innovating and disrupting, and that would be amazing. So, well, this was a fun conversation. I knew it would be. We didn't really necessarily have a roadmap, but I've certainly enjoyed it. I hope everybody in the chat has enjoyed it tonight. You guys are probably seeing some names you recognize.
Oh yeah, a bunch of people out there. Thank you to everybody who wished me happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks for the shout outs in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you would like to say before we sign off here?
No, I mean, I just give a plug. If you haven't come and check out our channel, we're the Downsized. Please come over and check us out. Yep. Don't leave Dave, though. There's plenty of space. We've all got different things we're doing.
Yeah.
And,
make sure you like and subscribe to Dave's
absolutely.
channel, and check us out too. We've got some different stuff going on.
Between the Downsized and OnThePen, your Thursday nights are set. Downsized earlier in the evening, you take a break for dinner, you come back and you have cocktail hour with OnThePen.
And we'll actually be on a cruise in September, on 2 cruises in September, and streaming from the cruise. So
sounds like a rough life, guys.
Yeah, it's a hard life.
Yeah, we kind of did that by mistake, but that's another story.
Well, it sounds like a fun mistake.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make a mistake, make an accidental 2 cruise mistake.
Yeah.
Well, we figured we would be sad because both girls went off to college a few weeks ago. So, that's the whole downsizing theme, because we're, downsizing our life because our children have gone to college, and we were going to be sad. So we booked a cruise, and then we forgot, we already booked a cruise, and they kind of lined up, and we're like,
anyway,
we'll go on both.
So we will be streaming live from 2 different cruise ships. Be fun.
Very fun.
Yeah, Dave, someday they do grow up, Dave.
No, they don't. My oldest is 10 and I can already feel him slipping away. And it's like, yeah, I mean,
10's a good age though. 10's
it is. It is. You try to enjoy it, but then you start to see them becoming their own independent selves. And you just think like what all the parents that I've interacted with who are a little bit farther in life than we are, they're always like, once they hit 16, they're gone. Like they're never going to be around. They're going to be driving. I'm like, well, hopefully we can, I don't know, feed all their friends or do something to keep them around. Cause that's a heartbreaking thought.
Yeah. I mean, in girls, I'd say, it's younger than that. So
It better not be. I only have one.
Once they start talking, it's all over. So
I have 3 boys and 1 girl, and my daughter, I've already made her agree to live here till she's 40. So
I think that's fair. Yeah. Our youngest, I told her she could go, to college locally and live with mom and dad. And she, for a while I had her like believing that. And then she figured out that she didn't want to do that.
Not so much. Well, this is an awful lot of fun. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. It's great to meet the both of you. Absolutely. We'll have to do this again. We'll do it maybe over on the Downsized or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
So thank you for being here and sharing a little bit of chit chat with us tonight.
Sounds good,
sure.
man.
Thanks
I appreciate
for having
it.
us, Dave.
Yep. Thank you. Have a good night.
Good evening, everybody.
Night, y'all.
See ya. Laraine and Christopher Durham from the Downsized. That's at the Downsized on YouTube here. Make sure that you go over to give them a follow. If you enjoyed their conversation tonight, you're going to enjoy their channel. Just a really kind of fun, unique dynamic that they have that's different than any other content anybody's making in this space right now. And I highly, highly recommend you go over there and give them a follow. You will not be disappointed. Thank you to Cloakster for being the matchmaker there and kind of getting us connected. So thank you, buddy. Really appreciate it, folks. Thank you for being with us tonight. Thank you for being the best part of what we do at On the Pen. Listen, if you gave a super chat tonight or memberships or whatever, and you are interested, we've got these On the Pen hot sauce bottles. Check that out. Everybody needs that staring back at them from their spice cabinet. So if you gave a super chat or gave memberships away tonight and you like one of these, simply send me an email to Dave@onthepen.com with your mailing address of choice, and I will be sure to send one out to you. Thank you so much for the gifts tonight. Thank you for your presence here tonight. Thank you for the faith and trust you put in getting your GLP-1 news from On the Pen. Until next week, may the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon each and every one of you, and be so, so gracious to you. You all have a great week. Thank you so much for being here.